It was my intentions to do that after GoldenEye. I just said, you know, the next time there's a relationship with a woman in it, let's make sure that she means something to him. Let's make this woman someone he loves. I think if we can play with the character in that respect, whether it be in a love situation but just to see the character's emotions.
Despite all that, Terry's role is little more than a celebrity cameo. There had in fact been reports that she was unhappy with the size of her role, something she strongly denies.
I think they're just rumors because I haven't experienced that at all, and the few things that I have heard that, you know, were sort of going around about my character certainly aren't true. I mean, nothing's changed from the moment I signed the dotted line to do the movie to what I'm doing, so, you know, that's just exactly what I signed up for, is what I'm doing, and I'm happy to be doing it.
The real Bond girl in Tomorrow Never Dies is Michelle Yeoh, Asia's top action star. She's Wei Lin, a Chinese secret agent who kicks and punches with the best of them.
It's a great character. I mean, I am an equal and an ally with the best-loved spy in the world. You know, it says everything. Wei Lin is a spy from China. She is definitely on par intellectually and physically with Bond. It was fantastic to play a role like that, because I think with the Bond films, the women wants to see something like that. It's great to be gorgeous and beautiful, but you know, you want to be able to do more.
If anything happens to me, the fuses for the mines are in here.
And there's no doubt Yeoh's performance strikes a blow for Bond girls.
We're going to finish this together.
They've tried to make them more of a partner with Bond rather than just us, you know, window dressing. But when you think about it, and when you even read the Fleming books, all of the Bond women were very liberated. They were definitely women on their own and independent, and that was rare for the 50s and early 60s.
Right of what?
Honey, Ryder.
Well, we'll leave 007 to get to grips with his Bond girls, and we'll take a short break. But to come back for part 2, when we find out about the battle of making the new movie and ask whether it's time for Bond to hang up his hat. A vodka martini shaken but not stirred might be 007's favourite drink. In the world of James Bond, it's only the second most important cocktail. The first goes like this. Mix one insane megalomaniac with a generous measure of beautiful women in glamorous locations, add a twist of improbable plots, and top with one smooth-talking secret agent in a tuxedo. It's a winning combination that's generated $2.5 billion in cinema tickets alone. Beyond that, 007 has proved that his license to kill is also a license to print money. TV rights to the Bond movies have been sold worldwide, as have the videos. But it's not just the films. Bond's exploits have been translated into everything from computer games to Jamaican holidays, complete with George Lazenby lazing under a palm tree. So what's the secret behind 007's enduring appeal?
Because he gets laid a lot, he wins at gambling, kills everybody who gets in his way. I mean, what the hell?
It's pure fantasy, pure illusion, and you're seeing things bigger and larger than life.
With the guys, it's like, I want to be James Bond, you know, because he's like incredible, invincible, he's sexy, he always gets all the great-looking babes, you know.
He is a womanizer, and he is a hard drinker and a hard smoker and a gambler. And I think that appeals to all of us in that, gee, wouldn't it be nice to live that way for a day, you know, just to experience all the sensual pleasures of life.
Just a minute, 007. I've got something for you.
Of course, part of the fun of any Bond movie is the amazing array of spy toys, a tradition going back 16 films to Q's first appearance in From Russia with Love.
Now she comes.
If I had tried to kill off Q, I would have been killed by everyone. I would not have even been able to walk down the streets.
Right, now pay attention, 007.
These days, though, Q's collection of gadgets aren't just picked for their practicality. They're some of the highest valued prizes in the world of product placement.
All the usual refinements, machine guns, rockets.
It's one way to fight traffic.
It's no accident that Bond drives a BMW, wears an Omega, and uses an Ericsson phone.
Omega watches, the whole business, yes. Selling cars, selling watches, selling suits. Absolutely. It's an honest living, Gov. Cheers.
A good business indeed. The price of getting a slice of the Bond action. For Ericsson,
we will actually be spending around $20 million in sponsorship and promotion globally
on having their products in the James Bond film.
But with the paid products getting better roles than some of the stars, has marketing hijacked the plot? Pierce Brosnan reckons it's okay as part of the Bond tradition, but sounds a note of caution.
These movies in particular have always been kind of relied heavily on product placement. I think next time out, less is more. Let's keep our dignity here, chaps. It's got nothing to do with me. It's out of my control. I mean, I'm the hired hand to go in there and play Bond. But I think it's tastefully done.
Tomorrow Never Dies is set to be the biggest Bond to date, complete with some of the most spectacular action sequences. So it'll come as some surprise that it was one of the quickest ever made. With the film promised for this Christmas, the movie didn't even have a script last October, after the original Hong Kong storyline was rejected because of the handover.
So they said, get a new script. Now, we didn't want to broadcast to the world that we were starting a film that was promised in the cinemas for now, and say we didn't have a script, that we were starting with an entirely new script, because nobody would have believed it was possible.
The race to finish wasn't helped by sudden upheavals. At one point, director Roger Spottiswoode and his crew were about to board a plane to start shooting in Vietnam when their film permits were cancelled.
You either say, look, this is terrible, or you say that all of these disadvantages are going to have to work for us. And we were lucky, because they did. We turned them all around and made the impossible part of the fun of it.
With these pressures, it's not surprising that there were tensions on set and constant rewrites, but all involved insist nothing as bad as the press painted it.
I hope you don't mind me saying, how much we got to believe about the situations of the rewrites and things like that?
Oh, it got pretty kind of intense, but nothing to the nonsense that was printed here in the British press. Naughty boys, for heaven's sake, do investigate next time. You know, there was all saying that, you know, Roger wasn't talking to anybody and he was passing notes of directorial instructions to people. Nonsense. But the pressure was on to do this movie. I mean, we started GoldenEye on January 12th. We started on April 1st. April Fool's Day. But the studio wanted the movie and they wanted it now. They wanted it yesterday, so to speak. That's going to create attention. That's going to create a certain, you know, neurosis, so to speak. But everybody pulled it off greatly.
A remarkable feat considering they had to start shooting a number of the stunt sequences before the film's plot was even nailed down.
We had to immediately start pre-production without script, commit to large action scenes that needed 8 months of prep. Ask special effects crews to do the impossible, because you had to, you know, we had to have as many scenes as possible so that when we finally got the script right, we would have those scenes prepared.
Bond will climb into the cockpit here, have a fight with the pilot. Start taxiing the plane round on full bore. People are going to race around behind Bond with a truck here, and he'll just give it full bore on his afterburners and blow this whole truck and people over.
The banner scene, for instance, took about 8 months of prep. We shot that well into the shoot because it needed so much preparation. It took an extraordinarily long time to find the building that we could put the banner on without knocking the building down. And we tried it in Kuala Lumpur, we tried it in Hanoi, Saigon, and things. And we ended up building a large part of that building and dropping Pierce and Michelle down, and that's not done with a computer. There are a couple of computer shots, but most of the time you're watching them falling down in front of a very large building. But they were both very gracious. We dropped them off this building for a week.
We jump off this 47th or 50th floor of this building, and Pierce and I are hanging there. We have a cable, but you're still hanging there, and by the end of it, I mean, you walk out and your arm is like 2 inches longer on one side, and you're trying to put it back into the socket, you know.
It's just one of the dozens of bone-jarring moments for Bond in a mission that sees him leaping out of planes and into the arms of heavies out to hurt him as much as possible. Sticks and stones may break his bones, but in truth, only box office receipts can really hurt Bond. And having come back from the brink of commercial death once, Britain's most famous spy is out to prove that, like Tomorrow, he never dies.
Drop it, Mr. Bond.
That's all for today, but tune in tomorrow for 5 women who could give Bond a run for his money, the Spice Girls.